Welcome to another installment of Trace Your Future with Refiloe. We are talking about a limitless mindset today with Tshepiso Mahike, who is busy making sushi trendy in the Township. Welcome to Trace Your Future.
Thank you, Refiloe, and I really appreciate the invite.
No, I mean, I'm the one that's honored here because we've got delicacies in front of us from the heart of Soweto itself.
Yeah.
Talk to us about why first of all, and with what informed you to go into sushi making, and particularly for the Soweto market.
So back in 2018, I was a student at the UKZN studying towards my honors degree in economics, right? So a friend of mine from the Northwest University, where I studied for my undergraduate degree for economics and risk management, said to me, well, he had gotten a job from a certain restaurant and he met the chef, and the chef was so happy that he could sell sushi so well. And so he said, dude, why don't we open our own thing? You guys will sell the sushi and I will make the sushi. And so from then onwards, I was invited to be part of the group to start the entire sushi bar, because I was very much into food, and I loved cooking so much, even though I was studying towards a different degree. And therefore, from that onwards, it was like, we're doing this. And and the vision started opening up, and I was like, you know what, I'm starting to love this, and therefore I want my people to love it the way I do. I want to take it to the township. I want to take it to the people, because it's as much as I know is that a lot of people had always thought that sushi is all about raw fish. So my main vision now was, let me educate them more about sushi. Let me educate my people more about sushi. And then the love started growing. And I started getting to understand even more about the business side of sushi itself and business in general. So that's where the love for sushi just came from. It came from just somebody else loving sushi and saying, look, let's do this. And it worked out so well.
Yeah, I love it. It's peer pressure of the good kind, right?
Yeah, you can see that. You can put it that way.
Yeah. And you having been pursuing economics at the time, it's always beneficial somewhere down the road. I love that.
Definitely.
The two can complement each other, because it is through the love for food, but now you are a businessman.
Yeah.
And you are sitting across me. I mean, you're going to have to educate us about sushi, because it's not assumed that we know everything. I also still think sushi is about raw fish. Is it not?
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily all about raw fish. So when I was actually introduced to it, I was told that what makes it sushi is basically the sushi rice. And it was explained in such a way that it would sit as if it was explained to a 10-year-old. Yeah. So the dish basically is a Japanese dish that mainly consists of the sushi rice, and then you choose whatever that you want to put inside it, whether it's seafood or Mediterranean fruits or whatsoever, because now we are living in the modern times. You should remember that. And therefore, in the modern times, there's all these different types of diets. So to make sure that we are accommodative of everybody else, we have to make sure that, whatever the food that we have, it has whatever that a specific diet follows. For example, I like making this example with a burger. There's different types of burgers. There's only one thing that is common across all those burgers. If it's a beef burger and a chicken burger, if you compare the two, there's only one thing that's common. It's the bun. So which is the starch. So it's the same thing with sushi. So when I did the research, I found out that actually there's one thing that's common across different types of sushi. I mean, there's this sushi called an avocado maki. It has been existing all these years. And when there's misconceptions about sushi came, about sushi being all about raw fish, I was like, but the avocado maki doesn't have raw fish in it. So what makes it to be considered as sushi? Then I realized that it actually has one thing in common with the other sushi. It's the rice. It's the sushi rice. So basically that's what makes it sushi. Whatever that you put in it, it's up to you.
Yeah, because I've quite enjoyed, because I've had with strawberries, I've had sushi that has mango in it, and I thought those were speciality type of sushis. And what have you got in front of us? Maybe you talk us through that as well.
So in front of us, I actually have just the various dishes that I normally serve that are on our menu, which is the basic sushi, right? I have like California raw, I have a nigiri, I have a salmon rose, I have a a fashion sandwich. I have the avocado maki, a beancurd roll, which we specialize mostly in, because when we started our business, it was main. Remember, the main vision was to educate. So with our beancurd roll, what we did was, because we know that beancurd doesn't really have to use seaweed, we then decided to take it and make it our signature, because now one thing that a lot of people would say is that because it has seaweed, that means it has seafood. Then we're like, okay, we'll make something without seafood and without fish. And therefore, that something without fish would have been our beancurd roll. It's called we call it the Johnitto's biltong beancurd. It doesn't have fish, it doesn't have seafood. It has biltong, cucumber, and avo inside, and then we added our sauces to it. And a lot of people would say that it tastes more like a bunny chow, because in a township, what happens is that a lot of us grow up eating a bunny chow. So we were like, let's bring something that's quite special with a special taste that's very close to a bunny chow, because most of the people in the township, they have that, they like saying that sushi requires you to have an acquired taste bud, but this one doesn't require you to have that.
Those are flavors you already
those are the flavors that we already used. And so that's why I always have to have it on our plate. And so also we have the soy sauce, ginger, and wasabi. It always has to be there, and not forgetting the chopsticks as well. They have to be there, because a lot of people like
but I'll use a different plate to enjoy this better later.
Yeah. So a lot of people like saying that, you know what, why do you have to have sushi with your hands, but not understanding that there are certain countries whereby they prefer using hands to eat their sushi, which is understandable. I mean, we all have choices on how we eat. I mean, some of the African people use their hands to eat them, and they don't really use spoons. So it's one of those things. So that's our sushi that we have right there.
I'm very I can like feel your passion, and I love that, you know, when I read your story, you come across strongly as a self-starter. Because have you been to Japan?
I have never been to Japan, but I've been to Czech Republic.
Oh, you've been to the Czech. Okay. But here you are. There's a lot of activism in what you're doing, because you're advocating for this dish.
Definitely.
And for people who are putting it off as, you know, like it's food for other people. You are saying, no, I will find a way to make it speak to your palate. And
definitely.
For me, that's quite impressive, because it's opening up our minds and it's opening up our worlds to say, okay, if maybe I'm, let's say, like you're talking about modern diets now, but there are people who are also picky eaters, and maybe they want to see what all this sushi is all about. But the business side of it is another thing that I admire about you, because it can't be a natural thing to sell. First, it's served cold. You know, we'll talk about all of that refrigeration and power cuts and all of those challenges. But more than that, you almost people have to want it. It's unlike something you know on your way that you grab quickly. That's because true. It's not a fast food, right? You need to be enjoying it delicately. You need to be savoring it. Maybe you know, I don't know the drinks that go with it, but I'm sure you know better. So talk to me about how you are making this profitable inside Soweto, which is how one of the biggest townships in South Africa.
So because Johnitto Sushi is mobile in most cases, it's easier to have access to certain establishments that are upscale, I'd like to put it like that. Upmarket establishment like pubs and restaurants. So I'd approach a certain establishment and ask them to just rent me some space, right, where I can just simply advertise my sushi and also serve sushi to the people. So when I get there, one thing that I do, because from the onset, I said, let me take sushi to the people. So I take the sushi to the people. I talk to them. I tell them what my sushi is made of and why they should have my sushi. Because one thing that I noticed was that if I am just sitting back and I'm just sitting by my corner there, it's written sushi bar, but and waiting for the people, it doesn't really serve the whole purpose of me being there. You know, so the profitability part comes where now I am talking to the customers and convincing them to try it out. Because if you've never tried sushi, some people would say it's bizarre, it doesn't go well with my palate. I mean, I don't think I'd enjoy it. So because I have all these different options, I'm able to tell you personally that this is how I make it. I'm even like, it even helps me to understand the customer's background even better. Because when I talk to you and say, Refiloe, why don't you eat sushi? You tell me why. You tell me it doesn't taste nice. You tell me I've had it before, never really enjoyed it. So because I get to understand your background, it's easier for me to recommend something, to say, look, maybe you've had something, you've had a different sushi. Maybe, how about you try out a fried sushi, for example? How about you try out a sushi without fish? Maybe you are allergic to seafood and you say, I don't want to try out sushi because I'm allergic to seafood. Then I can always say, you know what, I can make you either vegan sushi or I can make you sushi using biltong, because biltong is it's something that we grew up eating and we grew up snacking on.
Yeah, it's a South African staple. So that's what you're doing. You're putting a South African twist.
I'm putting something, an African twist to it, and also I'm allowing you to be able to be free and to trust me easily.
Trust you.
Yeah.
You are quite the salesman, because you will make anyone try sushi at all costs. You know, so it's like you are not letting people speak ill of sushi on your watch. You know, and I love it for you because you've sort of carved this niche as a brand, and you stand out, because in a food market one wouldn't expect, like if I'm at Meadowlands, for example, and I go down to the market, I'm expecting people to be selling fat cakes, bari chow squatters, as you are saying, and maybe burgers, you know, craft. There's now, you know, like artisanal ways of making breads, but I definitely don't expect sushi in that address. So talk to me about, do you, I know you are mobile and you are taking it to the people as well as that, but like on a regular, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know, that's when people are usually at home, and you know, so it is your business only when the weekend opens up and you're able to go to these pubs. How do you work around your business model?
So over the past few years, you must remember that, okay, when we started, it was 2019, right? And when we started, we were struggling a bit, so we had to go to the markets, and we had like your social food markets and also not. We had to go there, and that's where it all started. And then from then we had to move up to like the restaurant. So with us being at the markets, it was only on weekends. And then we realized that people would ask us, where are you? Because this sushi tastes so good. Where are you based during the week? And therefore, that's how we built our demand to push us to actually operate on daily basis. So right now what we do is that, because we have a specific space in Meadowlands, what we're doing is that we operate daily, simply because of the demand behind it. I mean, you get a call while you are just chilling at home. Say, for example, the establishment that we work in, it's normally closed on Tuesdays. So on certain Tuesdays, I'd get a call at around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and somebody would be like, are you open today? You know, so that told me that, you know what, I do not need to limit myself anymore. I have to just be there, open up. And so I spoke to the owner and said, you know what, I feel like the demand has grown so badly. Like, it's so, people need sushi on a daily basis. I'd get like 6 or 7 calls, and mind you, this is in Soweto. This is not incentive or whatsoever. And so because of that demand, we are fully operational on a daily basis from 9 o'clock until later on in the evening. So yeah, so even on weekends, I think our weekends are much more busier compared to during the week. I mean, in most cases on Mondays, you'd get people who are having, like, it's in the township mostly it's like Mokhodo Monday. So obviously people are having traditional food, and therefore it's not that easy to sell. But what about those who don't really like traditional food?
Of course, because
so I have to avail myself.
The assumption is that everybody likes
so I have to avail myself. As much as the weekend is busy, Monday is not, but I always told myself that I have to show up. I have no other option, but I have to show up on a daily basis. Bringing
it back to our discussion about like a limitless mindset. I mean, I am getting a heavy vibe of that, because you sound like someone who sees through the fog. I'm someone that's not in your position, but I'm wondering, like, are you making money? Are people buying? And you've just demonstrated through, you know, the examples you've given that there's demand, and while there's demand, you are going to be in business. And what kind of thoughts inform somebody like you? Because I'm sure it wasn't this crystal clear in the beginning, because you're like, you want to educate, right? And then you later graduated into a business. So what are you thinking at that time? Are you thinking, I wonder how they're going to receive me? Or you just going with I'm going to bulldoze this and find a way?
You know, for everyone in business, they tell you that everybody has to start somewhere, right? And so when you start, the vision is not as clear as you've always wanted it to be, or as it is towards the whole journey. As soon as you start, you're like, I'm just starting for the sake of just doing this. So with me, it was a thing of, look, I'm just gonna give it my all, no matter what it takes. If it fails, then I'll have to accept now. Before I even start, I accept that, you know what, there's a possibility that this business will fail because I'm in a space whereby I am not even, I do not even own a space, or I do not even have a space to rent. And I've been trying so many times to reach out to establishment, but nobody was giving me that shot, you know. And so up until that one moment whereby this guy just shows up and said, I'm open for Sundays, you can come through on Sundays. I was like, oh, no, that's perfect. At least we're getting somewhere. And then as time goes, I come across this other gentleman, and then he says, look, I'm based in Soweto, come through. It's December now, and this might add a vibe at my place. And therefore, it changes the whole thing. And so, at first, the vision is not as clear, yes, for everyone. But as time goes, you get to understand that, oh, actually, I need a sales strategy. I need to find a different positioning. I need to switch the focus from just being here in a township, but also involving everybody, so that you can invite people from the other parts of the world. For example, when we started, we only started with Sushi Without Fish because we wanted to establish ourselves. And so as soon as we gained the trust through that Sushi Without Fish, people started asking questions as to, why don't you guys try out the normal traditional sushi? Why don't we have that sushi with salmon, evo, and wasonat? And I said, look, we can't ignore the customers' requests. Let's just give them what they want. And
give the people what they want.
And so we moved from there. We jumped into having both now, having sushi without fish and having sushi with fish in it. And as time went, obviously, there are those who says, I don't like raw fish. Therefore, I want to have sushi that is fried, for example. And I said, look, you know what? Let's give it another shot. And therefore, that's when we stuck to that menu whereby we now have fried sushi, we now have sushi without fish, and we have the normal traditional sushi. And obviously, we are digging more into different sides, and we are becoming more creative. So that's what it's just all about. Just making sure that you can switch the focus from what it used to be to this new direction, just so that you can get to where you want it to be. Because initially, I didn't even think that I'd take it as far as this.
Serious?
Trust me, I did. I never thought. I just thought that maybe it'll be just a weekend thing. And look at it now. It's operating on a daily basis. It's because COVID-19 lockdown actually forced us to now literally just go to the people and get it out there. And from then, we built a demand. So from then onwards, here we are. It's like new sales strategy. You just find a strategy whereby you are able to adapt to new changes, because there's changes almost on a daily basis.
Of course.
Yeah.
And being an entrepreneur myself, I can only ask, because I'm hearing all these things. You're responding to what the customer needs, but that can come cheap. First of all, salmon is one of the it's top tier, most expensive. Are you pricing for the township market, or are you pricing for the sushi, being a delicacy that it is in our country?
To be honest, right?
Yeah.
The pricing, I just base it on a market thingy, on a market average.
Yeah.
I just look at the most expensive sushi bars.
Yes.
How much is their sushi, and then I look at the cheapest, and then I'll just price myself in between, just so that I can accommodate those who have been eating sushi all their life, and they've been staying, and the new ones as well, because some people have been eating sushi all their lives. It's just that it was never there in a township. So therefore, I needed to make sure that, look, as much as you've been eating it elsewhere, I can give you a better quality than that at a reasonable price without you having to go there. Yeah. Because when you look at the cost of you going there and the cost of coming to me, it might be less expensive. You get, so it's easier to price when you price based on a market rate. So that's how I choose my pricing.
It speaks to, I guess, the economic side, right?
Yes.
I'm listening and I'm like, okay, this is an economist, because he carefully thought about what he's doing. And so often in entrepreneurship and businesses, especially food businesses, right, we tend to have the glamorized side of the front and this platter, and you looking absolutely sharp, by the way, in your attire.
Thank you.
But I'm sure there's been a lot of failures.
Yeah.
Failures I'm talking about are not necessarily personal failures, because you are sitting here today and you keep saying we. So there's a light bulb inside of me that's saying yay. So he's creating jobs, you know. But I don't think people understand the responsibility of having a business and having to be operational every day. Talk to us about some of the failures that you've had to come through. I'm asking because we have a viewer that's just saying, I've been writing down, I've been conceptualizing, I've been researching. Today is the day I start. You know, I'm going to be the next Johnitto's, or I'm going to be the next ABC.
Yeah.
Open up that side, because I'm telling you, most people feel like you're just going to cruise when you start something.
True, yeah. So, one of my biggest failures, which I have never even regretted to this day, is that I tried to actually expand my business into a different township, and I tried with an establishment that is a bit lower compared to the one that I'm at.
And a different township outside of Soweto or within?
Outside of Soweto.
Outside of Soweto.
Outside of Soweto. And unfortunately, it didn't conceptualize as I had thought. The sushi was going well. However, the establishment wasn't doing well. So they had to close the establishment, and therefore the sushi bar had to close down. And, you know, with that comes one of those thoughts where you say, maybe it's because of positioning that I couldn't make it, or it's because of who I chose to associate myself with. Because sometimes partnerships are some of the things that really hurt our businesses the most. You know, so I had to choose. I had to take that and accept that, you know what, I didn't make it, but hopefully one day I'll get up and be like, this is the right direction that I'm headed to.
Was it a loss of money or investment, some capitals you had spent?
I would say it's both. I think I almost lost the Johnitto Sushi in Midlands as well, because the business was very dependent on it for stock. So therefore, it's like on the other end, you're like trying to push so much, and you don't realize that you're spending so much from this specific business to feed that other one to survive. And so that other sushi bar couldn't really support itself, or couldn't really depend on itself financially, and also even when I had to close it to let it go, it wasn't that simple. It wasn't that simple. And I just had to accept, man. I just had to accept, because it comes with a loss. And as soon as I realized that actually it's feeding off this one so much, I had to say, you know what, I've had to let it go. I just had to say, you know what, let me rather focus on this one and let that one go.
Yeah, because I know from your attitude, it sounds like you have it in you to start again when the conditions are more favorable, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a limitless mindset speaks to. It speaks to maybe not today, but definitely someday.
Definitely,
yeah. So, you know, we are in one of those countries, and I know many other countries in our continent experience power cuts, and sushi must be served cold. Wondering how this has affected your business. Do you mind taking us into your confidence? I mean, I know it's a lot of Africans' reality. It's not like we are we're complaining, or but it is a pain for small business to not be able to deliver the quality at which you are used to. I mean, speak to us about that.
So I would say that I was blessed enough to be in an establishment that has a backup, obviously, and because they had a backup plan, obviously it comes with a lot of maintenance. Sometimes the power would be off for like 4 hours, and you can just imagine having to use a generator for 4 hours. How much diesel would that be? You understand? And therefore, as a result, the effect that I had, the impact that it had on me was that obviously rental had to increase from my side because I'm relying on their alternative power, and therefore obviously it comes with a lot of financial strain from my side, because now it means that my business is no longer as profitable as before. However, the quality still remains the same because the suppliers won't drop the price because of what I'm experiencing. So obviously the financial impact has been a huge thing on my side. It has been I'd say that these power cuts and all these unfortunate circumstances, they have a huge strain on the business. And it's not obviously just my business. There's a lot of other businesses. You can just imagine if I was a small business that was operational by myself, do you think I'd be able to stand all of that? I don't think the businesses would be surviving by now, because there's so many businesses that I've heard of, most especially around Soweto, that had to close down because of these power cuts. I mean, they were doing so well all along up until this situation happened, because they were mostly reliant on electricity to survive, and they didn't have any other alternative. You get it?
And somebody else would have quit, but you didn't.
So I had to keep on going.
Yeah, what keeps you going? It's that fire that I'm after, because it seems as though nothing can keep you down.
I think
keep a good man down.
Of course. I think one thing that keeps me going is my passion for this. Yeah. From the very onset, I just told myself that, you know what, I'm not after the money. I'm not after the business winning financially. Obviously, the business will have to run itself at some point. So that's why I was able to say, let me take out whatever that I have, even if it's my last $1,000, to make sure that I attend a certain event, even if I won't make any money, even if I break even, but I would have broken even after fighting that battle. So I think it's all about the passion itself. It's all about my unstoppable spirit, just to keep on going non-stop. I think that's what just keeps me going. And also the customers that have that Johnitto Sushi. Trust me, seeing somebody smile and say, I didn't think that I'd ever enjoy sushi. Seeing somebody or hearing somebody saying that to me, it just brings a whole drive. It just motivates me to keep on going, because from that one person, I can change another person, and I can change another person. I mean, so many people have came to me and said to me, look, I never used to like sushi at all. And I never thought I'd ever in my life eat sushi again. But here I came through, and look at me now. And
converted.
And some of them would be like, I actually hated sushi, and I never thought I'd ever eat, because they had thought that sushi is raw fish, and see, so they'd love saying that, you know what, I never thought that I'd ever eat sushi that has raw fish. And look at me today, because they started with sushi without fish. They went into the fried sushi, and then at the end they're like, how about we try out this traditional sushi, because I didn't enjoy it somewhere else. I mean, just recently there's a lady who said to me, I don't think I'd ever enjoy sushi. I've tried it so many times at these different establishments, and my question was, have you tried Johnitto Sushi? And the lady was like, even if I could try that, I don't think I'd enjoy it. And so I recommended the fried sushi, and I recommended the biltong sushi. And I was disappointed, unfortunately, because she said, I don't even enjoy that.
Oh, wow.
The good thing about it is that she came back 15 minutes later. And I had just stepped out of the kitchen, and as soon as I was walking towards the kitchen, she's just there by the sushi bar waiting for me, and she's smiling and all excited. I'm like, what is it now? Did you try it different? She's like, oh, actually, I love rainbow rolls. And I was like, but didn't you say that you had that before and never really tried it? And so those are the kind of things that keep me going. Those are the kind of things that brings the fire in me, you know. So yeah, it's all just about passion.
Again, see no limits. Even when the customer is telling you to your face, but whether you don't see that limit. And I know you couldn't have been sitting in this chair, you know, still pushing this, if you didn't have a support system, which as business owners we take for granted, how those around us propel us forward. What sort of support system is holding together Johnitto Sushi and Tshepiso Mahike beyond the business?
I'd say it's family, it's friends, other business people around us, the customers themselves. that's basically the support system that I believe it keeps holding this business together. I mean, at first, my own family didn't think that this business would be this far.
What
are you serving? And where are you serving it as well? Also, the community, obviously, the community around you, they'll be like all negative and be like, why aren't you in Senton? Why aren't you in Rosebank? And you're like, nah.
Go to your peers.
No ways. And at the end of the day, the more these things came, it's the more I kept on going, and at the end of the day, it all turned around. The same family that didn't believe in it, they are the same ones that say to me, Tshepiso, I'm very proud of you, especially my mother. At first, she was like, nope, I don't think this business would make it. Just go look for a job. And I was like, but let's look at the financial statements and see if this business is not capable of making money in future. Even if it's just that 1,000 rands that I made in just 1 month. I think if we give it some time, we would get there. And my late grandmother used to say to me, if the business is not making money for you, just let it go. And I said, but your business wasn't making money for you for the past, for like the first 2 years. It was only making you 100 rands profit, and you still believed in it. Look at you where you are now. And look at the house that you are in. Look at the other houses that you have. And you know, whenever I said that, she'd just laugh at me and be like, yeah, you are very stubborn. You are very stubborn. And they'd sit with my mother and talk about how stubborn I am. And today, my mother always says to me, you know what, I'm so proud of you. I always hear people talking about you in the neighborhood. I mean, you are in Soweto, and I hear somebody in Eastern actually praising your sushi and telling me how they would love taking the wife to have your sushi whenever she's not feeling well, whenever she's angry at him, you know. So those are the kind of things that I think brought them back to say, you know what, we have to keep you going, even if the most you are going through the most difficult times. I mean, I remember at some point this year, I had to go to the Durban July, and I told my mom, like, you know what, I don't think I have the finances for the Durban July. I don't think I have the finances to go and serve the Durban July. First of all, is the transport, is the accommodation. It costs so much. And I still have to buy stock for Durban July, and I have to make sure that the Johnitto Sushi in Soweto is operational. So when I told her that, she was like, don't worry, just tell me how much you want. I'll give it to you. You know, so it tells me that, you know what, as much as you didn't believe in it, you believe in it so much that you believe that I'll give you that money back. You know, and so yeah, that's just my support system, man. From the onset, it wasn't that easy, obviously, to always be like, no, let me just take out money out of my pocket. Sometimes I wouldn't even have that money, but I'd always have somebody to say to me, look, I know how much you want this, and therefore here's the money for it, as long as you make sure that it comes back. And they believed in me. At the end, here we are. Here we are. Yeah. Here
we are. Self-started, sustained by your family, your clients, and your passion to really make one more person like sushi, definitely. One more person change their minds about maybe an experience about sushi they didn't have before. And, you know, what role did like teaching yourself or learning online do to catapult you to where you are? I'm asking this because, I mean, we've got a wonderful app called Trace Academia. And on here, if you are maybe looking to, you know, start something that hasn't been started before, I know the courses on there range from becoming a producer, DJ, there's music, there's handiwork, that's all of the, and I think they speak to things that, you know, things you can do with your hands, because not a lot of people that exist get to have the formal education where you are able to, you know, use your academics to further your life. What can you say about really going out there and using tools such as our app to further your efforts or your career or your business?
You know, there's one thing that I like saying to people, right, is that the modern day life is mostly digital and it's based on the internet, so much that we are able to make internet calls to each other now, right? And so therefore it is so important that if you are living in these times, you get like you understand how these things work. And so what happens is that at some point I didn't know much about sushi, right? And therefore I had to go and understand first, what is sushi? How is it made? Right? Before I could even meet this guy who's a sushi chef. Before I could even meet him, I had to understand, okay, we are meeting, but I had to know, what is it that we are meeting about? What is it that we're going to talk about? So in order for you to prepare yourself for such things, you had to use such platforms whereby you see people making sushi, you see how they build their sushi bars from zero to where they are. I know this gentleman called Nobu Matsuhisa. He owns this Nobu Hotels, Nobu Sushi Bar, and he had at the time, when I found out about him, it was through such platforms, where they post such stories about the great stories about what these people are doing and the great things that they did. I mean, when he decided to build such a huge sushi bar in America, it was that question of how many people like sushi. Are people gonna love what you're doing? So I was like, at that point I was like, oh my goodness, if I didn't have this, then how would I have known that this is the direction that I'm headed to? So that's the role that the such things play. And also, obviously, I got introduced to sushi and I didn't know much about it. And also, I had to learn how to make it. And so, me learning how to make it, I had to learn from somebody, and at the same time I had to go on the internet, because that person will not teach you everything. That person will teach you that, there's this sushi, it's called a fashion sandwich, but how you make it, it's going to be difficult. They don't tell you that it's going to be difficult. And now the next thing, you're struggling there, and now you get customers when that person is not there. You get customers who say, can I please have for example a bamboo sushi roll? And you'd ask yourself, what is a bamboo sushi roll? Because this person didn't tell me about that. And therefore, you are able to just go to this platform and just check it out. What is a bamboo sushi roll? Then you see, oh, it's actually a cucumber wrapped around that rice and with a bit of salmon there, and then you put Japanese mayo on top. And how I got to learn that, it's through the internet, it's through such platforms as Trace Academia. So yeah.
I think, you've perfectly summed it up to say there was also a responsibility you had. So the platforms exist, but you had to bring yourself there.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think on the matter of being limitless, all of us, including our tracers, have walked away knowing that nothing can stop you and nothing should stop
Definitely.
you. Nothing can stop you besides yourself.
Of course.
I've taken that away from your story, and I want to say keep going.
Thank you.
Because we are onlookers, and we are very, very inspired by you carrying it on and not letting any limit kill your spirit. And
Thank you.
That is all we have time for. I'm looking forward to trying this amazing
Yeah, of course. And also, please don't forget to follow us on our socials.
Of course.
It's at Johnittos.sushi on Instagram, Johnittos_sushi on Twitter, and if you want to order for delivery across Soweto or beyond Soweto borders, just know that you can simply contact us on WhatsApp or call us on 0726690315. And if you want to book us privately for your corporate functions, for your closing functions, your birthday parties, I'm here. You can simply just email us at Johnittos, sushi.johnittos.co.za. Sushi@johnittos.co.za. Yeah, that's how it is.
I hope you're ready, because they're gonna email you. Ne?
I'm ready. I'll be waiting. I'm looking forward to those calls, looking forward to those emails, looking forward to those bookings, because you know what? One thing that I've always wanted to do is educate people more about sushi and educate people in general. So more than that, I'm also willing to teach people how to make sushi themselves.
Each one teach one.
Each one teach one.
Download your copy of Trace Academia app, and free and fun and unlimited learning on the app. And who knows, you might get inspired to start something that Tshepiso here has with his Johnitto Sushi. I know that online learning has played a vital role, because you've never been to Japan, and look at the amazing and wonderful things that you are doing.
Yeah.
So that's all we have time for. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the invite. Thank you.